Hello, hello. All right. So today we're going to be over some frameworks. So buckle in if this is something that you are struggling with. We are going to dive into a couple things that no matter where you're at in your journey, you can really focus in on and go ahead and start to implement right away. So just a heads up, guys. Every Wednesday I always jump on lives, 5:30 Pacific time, which is about 8:30 Eastern. And if you don't know me, I know we have a bunch of new people inside the group. My name is Megan. I am the CEO and founder of Valkyrie Fitness and Nutrition. I've been working with frontline professionals for the past 3+ years. I've helped over 100, hundreds of other frontline professionals reach their fitness goals. So that's why I'm going to go over some frameworks here just to help you guys get a really good understanding on how to start implementing things inside of your own journey. And then obviously like go into detail if you're looking for a more customized approach to it, right? Because like I said, and I tell people this all the time, like I can give you guys tips and tricks and things like that, but every single person is going to be different in terms of where they're at inside of their fitness journey. So, for one person, they might need to focus on passing a PT test. Someone else might be working on the health journey. Another person might be just trying to lose, the last 5 pounds that they can't really lose. So you can kind of see how everyone's journey is going to be a little bit different, and an approach is going to have to be kind of pinpointed and tweaked and changed throughout their journey to kind of help them along. All right, so I'm going to actually I'll pull up my Word document too. That way, while I go over things, you guys can kind of see, and we'll touch on a couple things as I dive in here. There we go. All right, so like I said today, right, it's just going to be frameworks. So yeah, I'll just do it kind of like note style. That way, it's nothing crazy. All right. So if you were watching this right now, drop in, say hey, or give me a one in the comments. If you're watching the replay, go ahead and type in the word replay or the number 2. That way I just know that you watched it later on. All right. So first and foremost, I get a lot of people who are either like just starting out, right? So it's a few things. So you could be starting out, you could have fallen off, you might have had an injury, or a lot of times too, for some people, it's just like not knowing where to start. Okay. So any of these are like kind of like ringing a bell to you, it sounds like where you're at, just go ahead and throw it in the comments. That way I can kind of see where you're at. If it doesn't apply, go ahead and write in what you guys are kind of experiencing like inside of your fitness journey so far. That way I can get a good idea. Do not disturb on my phone. All right. So, right, we have our starting point. And obviously we want to get from point A to point Z, or right A to Z as fast as possible. That's really the goal here, right? That's why everyone kind of joined this group, because at some point you guys each have something that you're trying to focus on inside of your fitness journey, whatever it might be. So for a lot of you, right, it's going to be a couple things. It's going to be weight loss. It's going to be like gain strength. Might be needing to, like, some people might need to work on overall health. Weight loss, gain strength. Some people want to put on muscle. And some people are, trying to focus on like excuse me, like hitting one area. And I will say, like, guys, you can't target one specific area on your body, right? We all hold fat in different parts of our body. It's genetic. And in order for you to lose it, it's just a combination of really good training and dialing your nutrition. So I know a lot of people want to like pinpoint like their stomach. So that would be like, in my opinion, coming into like weight loss. Like gaining strength or like putting on muscle would be around the same. So like for these things, right, we're all gonna have different approaches for each of these items on here. So let's start with weight loss, because I feel like that is a big topic for most people. Weight loss, Honestly, I would probably say a majority of the people in the country are focusing on weight loss because, it's a big struggle, right? And if it was easy, everyone would be super ripped, right? All right, so let's dive into weight loss. And if weight loss is your thing, type in the word yes so I can kind of get an idea where you're at. All right, so with weight loss, there are a few approaches with this, right? And that's why I told you guys at the beginning, every person is going to have a different plan of action. Not, I have clients and not a single one of them is starting out in the same position, right? So some of them might be under eating. Some of them are overeating. Some of them have no clue what they're doing, right? They're like, they're eating healthy, but not losing weight. They're like, yeah, like I'm eating healthy, like I'm eating really well, but like I'm not sure what's going on. Like, you know what I mean? So like have no clue. So you kind of fall into one of these categories, right? And if you're under eating, I would say 1,200 calories or less, right? That's under eating. I've worked with people that were maybe eating like 600 to 800 calories a day, which is not good, right? Because we have to remember this thing. If we're under eating, we're affecting other parts of our body other than our weight because we get so caught up in like, I have to lose weight, I have to lose weight, I have to lose weight. And other times you're forgetting like you're low on energy, right? You might have like bad moods. You might have bad skin. Your nails might be brittle. It could be a bunch of things. You could get like headaches all the time. Like there's a laundry list of things that can go on when you're under eating, right? And it's also going to affect hormone function, which is a really big part, right? And then you have to remember too, like we have internal organs, we have a brain, we have all the things that go on inside of us. So the more that we're under eating, the less that we're fueling our body. So a lot of other things that you might not notice because you've been under eating for so long are a side effect of that. So that's something I want you guys to kind of think. Like, am I under eating? Am I only eating 1,200 calories or less? Will I lose weight if I'm eating this? Yes, you will lose weight, right? You're gonna lose weight to a point, and then eventually you might stall, and then you're gonna be like, well, what now? What do I do? I just not eat at all, or X, Y, and Z, right? So this, like under eating or 1,200 calories or less, is like one of the biggest things in terms of like people getting meal plans from people, or they Google something and then it's like a meal plan like this. And the reason why that majority of fitness, I don't even know if they would be like fitness influencers, fitness companies give you a 1,200 calorie diet is because they know that you're going to lose weight on that, right? They know that. They're like, yes, they're going to lose weight, but they don't care about all this other stuff. They just want to see your before and after pictures, right? They don't care about that. And the reason I know this is because I've done those in the past. And that was the same thing. I got like a 1,200 calorie diet and I had low energy. I had bad mood. My skin wasn't great. I had headaches. Like I felt like almost like I was like hungover all the time. Right. So and because on top of that, it had me like working out, right? So like you would be like cardio and weight training and things like that. And I'm already like running on fumes on top of, not feeling great. And of course I lost weight. Like I'm not gonna sit here and be like, no, I didn't lose any weight. Yeah, I lost weight, but I didn't feel great. Okay. So I want you guys to kind of like think about that. If your goal is to lose weight, what are you doing so far? And if you're doing this and you're experiencing things like this, then there's going to be issues down the road, right? When you eventually plateau. I'm not gonna spell plateau, right? But you're going to eventually plateau, right? So when that happens, most people go, well, now what do I do? Right? I'm already not eating enough. I'm already exercising. So what they end up doing is either more of exercise or they end up lowering their intake even more. When in actuality, what they need to do is start increasing their caloric intake, right? So if that's happening, you need to increase, right? We need to increase our foods. So that is one of the biggest things I see a lot of people do is they're like, I'm already not eating. Like now what do I do? You need to eat more. All right, so that is what we'll touch on here, under eating. Now let's say you're overeating. Okay. So you're someone that has like, you're eating fast food. It's usually fast food throughout the day, which leads to high calories, right? Because when we're eating out, whether it's at a restaurant, and this is what I tell people and my clients too. I'm like, it's okay to have fast food. It's okay to like eat out every once in a while, but you have to understand that even though like you might be able to see the calorie amount on like the menu or online or whatever it might be, that's not necessarily going to be true because one, we can never get it perfect to begin with. Two, we don't know what Jim is doing back on the grill. You know what I mean? He could be dumping olive oil all over the place for all we know. So you could be getting in more fats than you already assume, things like that, right? So a lot of times people that are overeating are usually grabbing like fast food throughout the day, or it's to the point where they don't eat all day, then go crazy at night. Right? They just grab whatever they could find and then they just keep eating until they feel better. And then they ate like their whole day's worth plus some. So there's like two ends of the spectrum here in terms of overeating. And if you fall into one of these categories, like you can write in the comments if you like, if not, no worries. But I just want to kind of like get an idea on where people are at inside of this group because then I can start targeting a couple more trainings that way. All right, so overeating, and if that's the goal, right, then obviously we need to eat less. All right, portion sizes. Most people don't know how to do that because they never tracked their food before, right? Majority of people, I would say, most people don't look at a few things, right? They don't look at nutrition labels because they have no idea what the serving size is. Because when they do, then they get real sad. Because you know what I mean? Like you grab Oreos and you're like, oh, a serving size of Oreos is 2. You're like, damn, I've been eating like, I think it's actually 3 now, um, but you're like, damn, I'm eating like a whole sleeve. So you're eating like, 6 servings. And then you're like, damn, I just ate like 900 calories. And this alone will save you a bunch of calories because then you can kind of I get a good idea on like obviously portion sizes. Tracking food is going to teach you, right? It's going to teach you what your body needs, right? Because most people they're not really sure. They don't know how much protein they're supposed to eat, they don't know how much carbs. Am I supposed to eat more fat? Am I supposed to not eat carbs at all? So in order to do that, you have to understand macro tracking, right? And that's when you use macros, it teaches you how to track food and then eventually teaches you how to intuitively eat. That's what I do, right? I've tracked for, I don't know, like 6+ years. And then I teach clients, I literally build out their meal guides and I show them how to do it. So I always joke, I'm walking my fitness pal now. So for me, it's really easy to like pinpoint, spot it, be like, oh, that's my serving size. That is going to be, more. But I understand at this point now how to get really good at it. And that's what I teach clients how to do, right? Track food to teach your body what it needs. That way they don't have to track forever. And then they don't ever need to feel like they need to diet again, right? Because I'm not about diets. I'm about like fueling your body. And you have to learn how to do that because if you keep doing like keto, you keep intermittent fasting, whatever, all that stuff, yeah, you're gonna lose weight. Cool. Are you gonna do this stuff forever? Like your entire life? Is that what you want to do? If the answer is no, then you have to understand how to properly fuel your body. All right, so this isn't, in my opinion, not this is not fulfilling your body. It's finding ways around it, right? Because the keto, they sell you those drinks and whatever else. Like, unless you're gonna drink that stuff forever, right? Then you have other stuff like Optavia. Unless you're gonna eat bagged or like bars forever. And what do they have you do? I think it's one salad or something at night. Unless you're gonna do that stuff forever, then it's not going to be something that you guys should jump into and start doing, right? I want you guys to understand that there's a really good way to learn how to do this, and it's not hard as long as you have a really good idea and a roadmap on how to do it. So fueling your body is good. This stuff is not good. And I'm not saying it's like the worst thing ever. People need keto, right? Keto was created for people that have epilepsy. And that's where like it really started because when we start eliminating food groups, we're eliminating nutrients, right? And I can't spell orthidam, so sorry. But the more you like eliminate stuff, the more you're losing this, right? And that's why people, when they actually start to eat these like their foods again, right? They start eating pasta again, they start eating bread again, they start eating um I'm trying to think of like other like rice, just like things where people aren't naturally eating because they think they can't have it. You're not giving your body certain micronutrients, right? You guys have to remember like micronutrients are super important. So that's what we talked about in overeating, right? Feeling your body not good, good, not good. Okay. Or you have no clue, right? You're not really sure. You're eating healthy, but you're not losing weight. That's what I wanted to write in here. Okay. So I hear this a lot, right? I'm eating. Why is it so bold? There we go. I am eating healthy, but I am not losing weight. Okay. There's a few things here, right? You're either not eating enough, you think it's healthy, but it might not be. Or you're assuming, right? Assuming you know how much you're intaking. Right. So a lot, and this is where it kind of goes back to, right, when we come back here, tracking food, teach your body what it needs. Like I said, for most people, they'll eat foods, and then this is normally what they're like when I see, and this is why I have clients track food. So when clients track food, right, I will give you literally probably a really good example on what I typically see. So, right, carb intake somewhere around could be it's usually all over the place. Like some days people will like eat and then it'll be like 100 grams of carbs. And then there's gonna be the weekend that comes around and they're like 3 to 400 grams, right? And then fats, people are like they're eating like 30 grams, and then all of a sudden there's other days where they're like at 90 to 100 grams of fat. Protein. This one is always under, right? People are literally eating, most people are eating 60 to 80 grams per day max, unless they have a really big meal when they go out. That's the only time I see it get below or above 100 grams. So like I said, like when I see people actually take time to like track their food and like see what it looks like, it's usually all over the place, right? Just think of like a really like an up and down roller coaster. That's what it typically looks like, where it's like some days are like this, and then some days are like this, and they're like, oh, and this. The name of the game, right, is to make it look like this. All right. We want to make everything be in a straight line. We want consistency. And if you struggle with consistency, it's mostly because you don't have like a good plan of action, right? Right. So basically giving you the tools to show you exactly how to do it to because a lot of times, right, there's no, 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 this is the right way. No, 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 this is the right way. No, 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 do it this way. Do it this way. And I have like a million ebooks and stuff like that from other coaches. And that's normally how it was. It's like, eat this for breakfast. And it's like it gives you like a vague idea, right? Where it's like egg whites, some veggies. I'm just like saying it like this because like nobody's eating like this is what like cracks me up, right? No one's always eating like this. Like it would be awesome if we could all eat like this, but majority of you guys are like running out of the door and you're like literally grabbing and going as you can, as you're like getting either to work, you might have kids, you might have like we gotta get the dogs out because now you have to go somewhere else. So like they're like, eat this for breakfast, right? It's like egg whites, veggies, Ezekiel bread, however you spell that. And then I don't know, like an orange or something. And I'm like, that sounds nice. Like, yeah, I wish I could do that. And then lunch is a salad with salmon and berries and like oil and vinegar, like a vinaigrette, or like a lemon. vinaigrette. I always can never spell vinaigrette, so you guys are probably like, wow, she cannot spell, but that's what words for. But anyway, so like that's like your lunch, and then dinner is, I don't know, it's usually something along the lines of like steak or like shrimp, like some other sort of fish, or just like a lean, or they'll write lean meat, like chicken with spinach and a potato. And you're like, oh wow, like this seems like I can definitely do this. And then snack one is a protein shake. And then snack two is, I don't know, insert almonds or something. And you're like, okay, here's my actual day, right? You're like, I'm literally running out the door. I stop at the gas station. And the reason I know this is because I worked with so many people, so I know what they're doing. Station, and I used to be in law enforcement too, guys. So like I, was out in the car all the time. Like the guy I was riding with someone, they'd be like, let's go get breakfast. And we would go to like Heritage's, and they would get a greasy sandwich. And then lunch would be like, okay, we're gonna stop here. Or everyone's ordering out. You know what I mean? So like I like this sounds great. This sounds like awesome. Like eat egg whites and veggies and Ezekiel bread with an orange. You know what I mean? That sounds fun. But this is reality, right? Stop at a gas station, grab something. Lunch, order what everyone else is. Dinner, I'm not eating. Like, does this sound familiar? Because it probably does. Dinner, I'm not eating, right? And then I pass out because you know, I worked 12 hours plus my commute each way was 2 hours. Like, you know what I mean? From there to work and then work back. So you have a 14-hour day, and then, life, like family, whatever else. So by the time you get home, you're kind of like, you're ready to pass out. So like this is what I see majority of the time. You know what I mean? It's just like I'm grabbing something. Lunch is like whatever everyone else has. Dinner, I'm not eating. I just go to bed. So the goal really for you should be like how and what can I start to implement in order to prevent like stop at a gas station, order what everyone else is, dinner, I'm not, not stop not eating. And then obviously you're trying to also get workouts in too. So like that's what I teach clients to do, right? That's what I teach them how to do because I had to learn the same process, right? When I was in law enforcement, like the first couple months I got out, I gained like 30 pounds, okay? Because of that reason, like all of this, you know what I mean? This was it. And we would have to get into work. So I would work, I'd have it, I'd have to get in an hour before because when we were new plus, right? Plus my 12-hour shift. Uh and then I had an hour drive, okay? Plus my 12-hour shift, plus if I got stuck late, which happens, and then plus another hour drive. So like some days I would leave the house by like what was it? 4 a.m. and then sometimes I want to get home to like 8 p.m. You know what I mean? So when this starts to happen, you're like, oh, how the hell am I supposed to live a healthy life when I'm literally like, grinding at work? I have an hour drive. I had to be at work an hour before. Sometimes I'm getting stuck late. And then, before you know it, the day's over. And that's how I put on so much weight so fast, right? This happened in the first like couple weeks after the academy because we were exercising all the time. For most people, obviously, like the gain 30 pounds, it happens over a few, like a few years. Like mine happened over like in a course of a couple months, and this happened to me twice. Right, this wasn't just a one-time thing. This happened to me 2 times. First time was after basic training because of the same reason. Right, we were working out all the time, and then stopped. Um, so that really didn't help. So in order to learn how to do this, right, I had to create a plan of action for myself. Right? I had to understand a few things. One, macros. Two, how to work out with my rotating shifts. Because we were rotating from days 2 nights every 2 weeks plus overtime, right? Plus whatever the OT I was doing. So this is how you have to kind of like create your own plan of action in terms of like what do I need to do? What needs to change? And if your answer is I don't know, then drop the word. We'll do fit. Drop the word fit in the comments and I'll shoot you a DM so we can talk. Okay. Because my goal is obviously within this group to help you. But if you need something that's more one-on-one, that's going to be more customized to you, or actually gives you like a full-on action plan, then that's what we'll create for you, and that's what we'll focus it on. Because for a lot of people, and if you don't want to comment it, just DM me the word fit. But a lot of people struggle with this, right? They struggle with it for years. People's health obviously takes the toll, right? If I stuck around and continue down that path. And I watched coworkers, I watched people I graduated with have the same thing happen to them, where all of a sudden it was like, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. They're like putting on weight at a rapid pace. Like I didn't even recognize someone I was working with one time because of that, because they didn't make their own plan of action. Like I had to find a way. Luckily for me, like I had a gym at home too, which was nice, right? So like home workouts was one thing I did. Two was like I had to understand nutrition, right? And that's why I ended up getting my NASM certified. I got my personal training, and then I also got my certified nutrition coach through them too. Because I needed to understand, I needed to find out what to do with nutrition, because there's so much noise in the nutrition space, right? If we go back to all this stuff I talked about with the quick fix diets, like they want you to assume like that's the only way, that's the only way, that's the only way, when in reality it's not, right? You don't need to cut out carbs. You don't need to cut out like, whatever you might think in order to lose weight. You have to just find a good amount of portion for your body. And it doesn't have to be completely eliminating something. So like for me, that's what I ended up having to do in order to just like get out of that rut. And then once I did that, right, the weight started to come off. And then not only that, I changed my body composition, which was my biggest thing, right? Because I didn't want to like lose weight and then be skinny. Like I wanted to like put on muscle. I wanted to feel strong. Like I wanted to be able to bench press 135. I wanted to be able to squat over 200 pounds. So like for me, when I was doing those 1200 calorie diets, I couldn't do that. Like I felt like shit. So when I wanted to actually like take a step back and be like, this is my fitness journey. I want this for me, then I had to learn, right? I had to learn about nutrition. I had to learn about fitness a lot better than what I was drilled at for so long, right? I did 3 academies. I did basic and 3 academies. So for me, it was all like body weight stuff, lots of running. We did boxing, we did swimming, we did mixed martial arts, kind of like fighting. Um, we did, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that we did in that one academy. Like between basic too, right? If you my military folks out there, like you understand that, but it was a lot of nonstop working out. So when you're not doing that, you know what I mean? Like you have to kind of like find ways around your crazy schedule in order to make it work for you. And that's why right now, like for clients, like I have some doing like 10-minute workouts, some do like 20-minute, some have time to go to the gym. So we do gym workouts. Some of them do home plus gym depending on their week, right? Some do like I plan on doing like a swimming for someone, for a client once it warms up, because of, just this just lower impact. So you know what I mean? Like it doesn't have to be a one size fit all approach. It has to fit for you. So you have to think like what's going to work in terms of like a few things, right? How much time you have? What are your goals? Because and we're going to dive into a little bit of that too with your goals. Time, what are your goals? Like do you have to lose a set amount of weight? What equipment do you have? Things like that, you know what I mean? So time, goals, equipment. That's really what I focus with client workouts. So another thing is like expectations, right? Like what do you want? because there's a few things, right? Someone wants a six pack, their training is going to look different than someone that just is like, I want to lower my blood pressure, right? So your expectations have to be a certain way too, right? If you want to train to look like, I'll use who's a like like Dana Lynn Bailey. I think it's Lynn. I don't know. I don't know if it's that kind of Lynn or different Bailey, right? She was Miss Olympia like years ago. And she looks like she can bench press a house, right? So she is shredded all the time, right? Then, like, or do you want to just look like, just like a healthy person, right? So just like feels good, feels confident, looks good in bathing suits still, but you're not like packing on like, she's packing on like tons of muscle. If you don't know who it is, you could just Google as your friend. Dana Lynn Bailey. If you're just trying to look like the average healthy person, right? Where you feel good, you feel confident, you look good in a bathing suit, like, people still give you compliments. You're not stepping on stage, right? Our goal isn't to step on a bodybuilding stage, but you want to feel like, you want to feel good, like, oh, you look great. Like, have you lost some weight? Like, you look really good in your bathing suit. Like, whatever you might be, like, you just want to feel great. You have to put an expectation behind that, right? So, someone like this is training completely different, right? Their nutrition's different, their workouts are different, their life schedule is different compared to this person who has a family. They have a full-time job. She gets paid to literally work out, like that's her job. Like she has a clothing brand. Like she's not working 12-hour days. She literally has a whole team doing everything. So this person doesn't have access to that, right? They're driving to and from work. They just want to feel good, they want to feel healthy, they want to feel confident. So if you want to, like, compare plans, because you can literally Google what does Dalen Bailey do, and her plan will come up, and it'll give you her meal plan. And if this person tried to like eat like that, they wouldn't be able to. It's like it's pretty hard. You know what I mean? So that's why I tell people, if your goal is to step on a bodybuilding stage, your plan is going to look completely different than the person just trying to like look better in their bathing suit. They would feel good, feel confident, lose some inches in their waist. And that's why like there's a big misconception around like how people should train, right? And that's why so many of these people sell these crazy programs, because people believe that, like, oh, I'm gonna look just like that if I do this X, Y, and Z. But no, you have to, like, your whole life revolves around fitness, right? And for this person, fitness is like, I don't know, maybe 10% of your day. You know what I mean? So you kind of have to like remember that. Like this this person, it's like 100% it's like their whole personality, right? I wish like I could do that, but I don't have time. Like I sit on a computer majority of the time. Like some of you might. And this person, fitness is like what I said, like 10%, right? So it's a 90% gap in like how Dana's training compared to the healthy person. Like she'll train literally all day, like literally. I think she like got hospitalized once because she was training too much. So what I mean? So like we don't have the fun option of working out all day. So I just want to dive on expectations as well. All right, so let me roll up here a little bit. Mm-mm-mm. And that was just weight loss. So I guess we'll touch on that. And then same thing like with gaining strength, right? So if your goal is to gain strength, then your training needs to incorporate strength training, right? Now, if you look at a bodybuilding program, they're they're not really they're kind of created for strength. Oh, there's like a ambulance or something going by. Wait for it to go by. Fire truck. So strength training is gonna look different, a little different, right? Because strength, like bodybuilders should train for strength, but that's not their overall goal, right? Their goal is just to look good. Um, so like usually like, they'll have like a bodybuilding split, right? Chest tries, back buys. shoulders, chest, and maybe like arms and core day. So that's usually what, like what bodybuilding looks like. Strength training, what I think of strength, I'm thinking like more of a strength athlete, right? Someone that's like pulling heavier weight. So this would be more like for my firefighters or even like those in healthcare because you're flipping patients or law enforcement because your goal should be able to, if you get into some sort of altercation fight, right, to be able to, push somebody off you. Things happen where you have to perform, move around, or if something happens when you get on scene first and you have to move something. Same thing with firefighters. They're using like the heavy hoses. They need to be able to like, and plus you have all the equipment on. Same thing with law enforcement, right? You need to be strong to perform with all that stuff on. Healthcare, you're like flipping people, so you need to be able to push people around without like causing injury to yourself. So with strength training, you're gonna focus more on like heavy lifts, right? So like 5x5s, they're really good, which take usually it's a longer rest period. Even incorporating things like HIIT style training too, right? That's gonna build like your endurance, right? Your stamina. And also will help you a bit with strength, right? Because you're pushing your body while you're moving weight. So like things like that are really important. Let me scroll back. I want to make sure I hit all my notes. Working on overall health, right? That is gonna be like taking a look and like understanding your nutrition and being like, okay, am I getting enough like fruits and veggies in? Right? Am I getting like enough supplements? People are deficient in a lot of things and they don't get the right supplementation for that. Another thing would be like, if they want to get off medications, right? So like increasing activity to help with that as well. Right? So overall health, that would be like a primary thing, right? Just getting back to moving a little bit more, maybe like incorporating a little bit of weight training, right? Because as we age, right, our muscle decreases. Wow, I put an I there. Our muscle decreases, our bone health diminishes. And a lot of times because of not getting enough protein, right? And that's why people undereat for so long. And then when they reach a certain age, fall down, they break a hip because they didn't have enough protein throughout their early 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, right? So that's usually a big indication, right? When their bone health is not really good. Muscle size too, right? They don't have any muscle. They're not lifting heavy. They're not like actively pushing themselves on the days that they're off and stuff like that, right? A lot of times too, as we age, we sit down a lot more. I sit down a lot, right? So it's really important for me when I go to the gym for my 10% of the time that I'm working out to try to lift heavy weights to help prevent that. So that's a really big thing as well. Let's go back up one more time. Yeah. All right, so putting on muscle pretty much comes down to a few things, right? Getting more protein, eating more food. If you want to put on muscle, you need to do a couple things, right? So here's the thing. Everyone wants to put on muscle. Everyone wants to do X, Y, and Z, right? So the first question is, do you have a lot of fat to lose? That would be, in my opinion, probably like 15 pounds, right? If you could lose 15 pounds, then the answer is yes. Do you have a lot of fat to lose? Yes. Two would be, like, do you know what you're eating? Like calorie amount. Because you need to find your starting point. And then three would be like, are you tracking like what weight you're lifting? Because if you keep going to the gym and doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over again with the same weight, um, you're gonna stay looking the same. So okay. So those are like three questions. If the answer is no, the answer is you don't know for number two, and if the answer is yes for number one, you're not, I wouldn't make that your focus. I would make weight loss your focus. Okay. Like start by losing fat first. And then focus when you drop enough weight where you can actually start seeing like what's going on, then start to, because you're gonna have to eat more food, right? You have to eat so much food. And your protein's gonna have to be like really consistent. You're gonna have to be really good at it. And that's why we go back to the beginning, right? Weight loss should be your focus because if you don't understand nutrition labels, if you don't understand like how much you're eating, if you don't understand like what your portion sizes are going to be, it's going to be really hard for you to be like good at this because a lot of times when people bulk, right, to put on muscle, they put on a lot of fat because in order to put on muscle, you have to put on weight, right? Unless you're taking like something secret, but like that's the only way to do it naturally. Okay. I'm just trying to be straight up with you guys because I feel like people just, there's like so much pretend out there that there's not enough actual information. You're going to put on weight, right? So for instance, I'm 140 pounds. My goal is to put on more muscle, right? I need to eat at minimum because I already know my macros, right? I been doing it for a while. I know where they're supposed to be, right? I need to be around 2,600 to 2,800 calories, somewhere between there, right? My protein intake's usually at like 180. My carbs are usually at like 260 to 280, and my fat intake's at like 80 to 90 grams. So like you can hear and like see like if I said that to like any normal person, they'd be like, "Oh my God, that's so much food." I'm like, "Yeah, it's a lot." But I'm not putting on a massive amount of fat, right? Like while as I'm eating that, I'm adding more muscle. And my goal is to like focus on foods that aren't going to put, it's like literally impossible not to put some fat on. But my goal is to obviously put on more muscle to gain more strength. Like when I start to eat that much, like my lifts go up, right? When I start to like decrease and eat less food, right? If I'm trying to lean out, right? Summer I usually eat less and my training is different. So for me, like now I'm like probably around like I think I'm like the 1900 range, somewhere around like 1,800 to 2,000. So you know what I mean? So like as I start to implement more food, I get stronger, my muscle size increases. I feel really, really good in my lifts. As I start to drop weight and as I start to eat less, I have, less calories that are going to help me lift heavier weight. So, see what I'm saying? So, for someone that's like, I want to pack on muscle. I'm like, cool. Like, do you have to lose some weight first? If the answer is yes, then focus on that. Get really good at dropping the weight and then focus in on increasing your food because all you do when you want to put on muscle is do exactly how you eat when you lose weight. You just eat more, right? You just eat bigger portions. And this is where most people screw up because they're like, oh, I'm bulk and I can just eat whatever I want. And then they go back to just eating a bunch of junk food. So for me, when I want to lose weight, I eat less potatoes with my meal. When I want to gain weight, I eat more potatoes with my meal. I eat more, when I want to gain weight, I eat more meat in my meals. Like I have more protein scoops that I have. You see what I mean? So all I do is just take what I currently do and just increase it. And then when I want to lose weight, I take what I currently am doing when I put on weight and decreasing it. So like that's really the best way to kind of implement that. So other than that, like these are probably some really good frameworks that you could start implementing if you like are just starting out. Maybe you fall off, maybe you got injured in the past and you're like trying to figure out where you want to even start, or you're not even sure where to start at yet because um these are pretty much like what to do, right? And a lot of us, and this is like a couple pages long already, but a lot of people get really caught up in things and like a lot of times too, I will say like the biggest mistakes I see is this, right? People like do something for like 1 week, they don't see results, they stop. or they change it. Stop or change it, right? They keep they don't a lot another thing too is like changing your meals a lot. And then I show clients how to do it, right? I show clients exactly how to like build out their own meal guides. I give them a book I've built over the years that has over 100 different examples and growing because I add in new ones every couple weeks. Um, so what I did when I started is I had the same breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right? Leftovers for like 1 to 2 days, right? So or no, we'll say like 2 to 3 days. Well, that sounds better, right? 2 to 3 days until I got really good at my macros because now I can just like go at the hip and I kind of already know what I'm eating. But for most people that don't know how to do that, it's like anything. Like you want to start playing guitar, right? You want to start playing guitar and then be like, I'm gonna learn one song, and then the next day you're gonna be like, actually, I'm gonna learn this song. So like you keep switching songs and then you never learn to play because you're like going back and forth. You're like, okay, like I got that note down. And then the next day you're like, all right, I got that one note. Actually, I'm gonna try it this way. You're doing the same thing with your food. You know what I mean? Like if you're ordering out every day, if you're switching your meals, if you're, that's why like I'm like meal prepping is great because it gives you the ability to like plan everything out, get you good to go. It makes life simple. You don't have to guess. And then you can just literally copy and paste what you plug in into your like your whatever you use to track your macros. I have clients use MyFitnessPal, and you just copy and paste it over. And that's all I did until I got good at it and I started to like see my serving size and I got to see like how much, what food even looked like. I didn't really understand what macros were until I started like plugging it in more. And again, like that's what I do for clients as I teach them how to do it the fastest way possible. So that way, by the time they get done in 16 weeks, they can lose up to 40 pounds because for a lot of people, it's a lot of times it's just the implementation and like having to think about it and learn to do it on your own when someone can just hand you like the exact formula and be like, oh, okay, this is how I do it. But that's what I'll say is like the biggest mistakes. That or their workouts are all over. Like I will say this, like you're gonna hit the same movements very like working out, like it can be fun, right? It can be different. You can kind of switch things between home and gym and doing other stuff. But if your workouts are like all over the place and you don't know what weight you used last week or the week before, and you're just kind of like winging it in a certain sense, then you're gonna really struggle to see progress, like really good progress. You know what I mean? Because once you guys understand this, you'll realize that like being in shape it's actually kind of boring, right? It's just like the same thing. You just get really good at it. You finally figure out how to do it, and then once you start implementing it, you're like, oh, this is actually a lot simpler than I thought, right? And that's why I have clients that'll text me and be like, oh, like I don't have to track my food anymore. And I'm like, cool, like you did exactly what our goal was. And they're like, yes, like it's actually a lot easier than I thought. And they're like, why didn't I do this before? And I'm like, I don't know. So it just goes off like that. Or like, you know what I mean? Or they're just like gaining strength at a ridiculous amount of weight because they were under eating for so long, or they just weren't eating the right types of foods, right? Just to hit their target. So learning how to do that. And then boom, like before they know it, like I've had clients not do super great in their PT tests or like their ACFT. We shift a few things around and they're performing so much better. So just things like that. All right. Other than that, we dived into frameworks. I know I talked for a while tonight, but I wanted to give you guys a really good training on, how to kind of build things out. Because I get a lot of questions in the DMs, especially because I try to reach out to every person that comes into the group. And I just wanted to make something that was really beneficial for all of you guys, just as a good training resource. And last but not least, right, I do have some spots open inside of my group in my one-on-one training. So that is my Fit Frontliner Elite Partnership Program. So that is my one-on-one program. Okay. And inside of that, I teach you guys how to do all of this stuff, but specifically for you. And we also have some other trainings and things like that that clients get access to and a lot more good stuff. And if you want me to If you're just interested in it, you just want to like learn more about it, just drop the word me in the comment section. That way I can send you over a link that will it'll give you the breakdown. Okay. Another thing too, guys, I have something coming April 17th. So be on the lookout. You know what I mean? If you guys get my emails and it's not favorite my emails, which would be they look like this, right? So my name on there is Megan. Right? Because if you don't favorite, you guys are missing out and you're not opening them, you're missing out on like lots of information, right? I give you guys access to, I just did one with lessons a few weeks ago. I just dropped like a whole mini course for people. I think it was like a 5-day mini course. I drop like, ebooks in there when you guys reach out. So if I don't have access to your email, you guys aren't seeing my emails, you're gonna miss out on a bunch of stuff, as well as the updates and things like that inside of the group and inside of what I do inside of my own business. So make sure you favorite my emails. And yeah, that's all I have for you tonight. Hopefully this was a nice, good training. And I wanted to make sure that you guys had a really good, clear understanding on everything because I feel like a lot of people and a lot of programs don't give you really good clarification on what needs to be done in order to see results. And that's the goal here inside of this group is to kind of change things up and make you guys understand on how to implement things, how to get things done, and how to effectively reach your goals, right? Because I do have people in the group that have lost, I don't know, probably 20, I think 20, 30 pounds, somewhere around there, since joining all of last year. So again, implement, use it, and if you are someone that struggles and you want to learn more about the one-on-one program, drop the comments me in there and then I'll reach out to you.